Islamic State is continuing to win over converts in Europe through a relentless propaganda campaign. Sweden has become the latest to admit that there is actually very little it can do to stop its citizens from joining the terrorist ranks. According to various estimates, around 6,000 EU citizens are currently fighting in Iraq and Syria within the ranks of the jihadists, and that sparked fears that those who return home will pose a major security threat. A senior British Muslim lawyer has dubbed this trend jihadimania. Nazir Afzal says Islamic State is gaining the status of a pop idol for teenagers in Britain, with boys wanting to be like them and girls wanting to be with them. Mr. Afzal now joins us live. Thanks so much, Mr. Afzal, for joining us here on RT International to discuss this issue. So, in your opinion, where does this appeal come from? Because for most people, it's hard to imagine what would make a boy or girl in Britain to join the ranks of the jihadists.
Good afternoon to you. When you talk about young people, you have to remember how vulnerable they are. Teenagers particularly are susceptible to propaganda, to marketing, to all of those kinds of things. And what's happening with ISIL, ISIS, Daesh, whatever you want to call them, they're very evil people, but they're very good at propaganda, they're very good at marketing, and they're presenting this image that somehow this glorious campaign that they're carrying out in Syria and Iraq is one thing that attracts them, compared to the life they may be leading or living in their own homes, where they may well be oppressed in some way by their parents. They may well be told by their parents that there are things they can't do. Their parents obviously feel very happy that they're at home, but they don't pay much attention to what they're doing online. And where they are online, they have access to charismatic individuals who try to sell them this message that your life is not as good, you are unwanted and unloved where you are. We will love you, we will want you, and we will give you a life that you have no way of achieving in England or in Europe or wherever you may be. And that is a selling point that works.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, their selling point works, but what about the other side? What's being done at home to counter that and to protect teenagers as a result?
There are lots. Well, there are lots of strategies that you have to put in place, but you have to treat this like an addiction. Any addiction, whether addiction to drugs or anything of that nature, you can't just simply tell people what you're doing is bad, and the police will be involved. You've got to give them hope. You've got to give them expectations that their life here will be meaningful and their ambitions will be realized. You've got to provide them with support. The communication has to be much better than it is. You've got to give them that impression that what they have here and the potential they have here is so much greater than the unreal and evil world that they might be going to. They have no understanding, because when you are young, you automatically think that there's something better than the life that you lead. And these people are very good at expressing a life better than the one they have at the moment. So you've got to give them hope, you've got to give them ambition, you've got to give them support, and you've got to communicate with them better than we are doing at the moment.